Happy New Year! Welcome to season 37 of Orlando Magic Basketball. The 25-26 free agency period is underway. And boy, this offseason has been quite interesting so far for the Orlando Magic. Starting off the trading season with the big Desmond Bain trade. We're going to talk about that and a lot of other things here in the Orlando Magic Nation, which is a one stop shop for all things Orlando Magic here on YouTube. And in our first episode here, we're going to talk about the situation with Moe, where we are after the Tyus Jones signing when it comes to the roster, as well as our salary, not our salary cap, whatever extensions we have left, and outside the box from what I'm hearing online, thought of Jalen coming off the bench. But we're going to start off with the Moe situation. So, as everybody knows, we had to not pick up his player option for the 25-26 season so that we can do some finagling around the corners. So we'll be able to sign some free agents. So the big signing is so far Tyus Jones. We were hoping to be able to use only the taxpayer mid level, the 5.7 or so million, so that we wouldn't have to hard cap ourselves at the first apron. But in the end, that didn't turn out. So Tyus Jones is now with the team, which is great. But how did that affect Mo? Right now, unless we do some trading, which at this point, who knows what Jeff Weltman has up his sleeve. For so long, he was pretty conservative, and at this point now, he's just throwing out draft picks left and right. So we'll see what they do in the trade. But if we don't do any other trades at this point, it doesn't look that we'll be able to bring back Mo unless he takes a big pay cut or we just backload the deal that he ends up signing. Obviously, he would like to have some security, which he hasn't had the last few seasons. So we really can't fault him for that very much. But I think that is where we're at right now with Mo. Now, of course, if we're going to make a trade, if we do a trade, we salary dump Jet, or we do something with Jonathan Isaac's contract now that we drafted Penda, then we'd be able to have some more money to be able to bring back both Caleb and Mo. But at the moment, it's going to be a little thing. Everything online shows that we're supposedly everyone believes that we're going to be bringing back Mo. So for me, the big thing is like how we're going to bring him back. And I think that's going to be the thing to look out in day two of free agency. In the end, I also believe that he's too important to the team, not just because he's Franz's brother, but also his givers. And that's what I basically say. Like, you normally want to have guys on the team that seem that they care, that they want to be out there. And no, he's not a high flyer, but he's gotten better every single year. He puts his body on the line for the team. He's ready to scrap if there's going to be any issues on there. He's a nuisance, and now when we have him as well as Desmond Bain, who steps in and will be one to defend his teammates as well, and then Penda as well, which all the things that they talk about with him is that he doesn't mind getting under people's skin. So the Magic, if they have a DNA, it's definitely to be tough and hard nosed and play some defense. So let's hope we don't see Detroit in a playoff series because I think it's going to get quite chippy quite soon. I was surprised that they didn't have a little bit more up their sleeve for New York, but anyway, that's that. So all in all, I think we're going to be bringing back Mo. Everybody, again, all the reporting says that he's going to be back with the Magic, but I guess we're still having to see how that's going to happen since right now we can't just sign him we can't go past the first apron. We're hard capped to the first apron because we use so much of the non-taxpayer mid-level exception. So we will see how that goes. But all in all, it seems as if he's going to be back with the Magic. So let's hope that that is the case because he's definitely one of those guys that you want to have in the foxhole with you when you're going to start going into these hopefully long runs into the playoffs. The second thing is the second topic is Tyus Jones. So Tyus Jones, he's the big free agent so far. 1 year, $7 million. So again, we went over the threshold that we can go in the non-tax mid-level. So we've hard capped ourselves at the first apron. So uh, that makes it a bit more difficult with the Mo situation, as you heard before. But Tyus Jones brings a lot to the table. He is a little guy, so we're worried. You're always going to be worried about the. You're always going to be worried about defense when it comes to the playoffs because that's one of the things that you want to not have people that are going to be picked on as much in the playoffs. But um, he's ultimately in the playoffs when it comes time for the playoffs. He's going to be a role player, spot up shooter. He's going to be able to take the Corey Joseph role, which unfortunately we had to get rid of Corey because of just all the machinations of the salary cap. So he's going to take on the Corey role. He's not as thick, the lower body, let's say, as Corey was. So Corey was able to actually, in the end, be able to hold up when he was caught in switches and when they were hunting him in the Celtic series. Tyus is a bit more thin, let's say, or not as big butt. And the big thing with that is he's definitely going to get picked on in the playoffs. So hopefully he's going to be able to stay on the court by hitting his threes and making sure that on the in the offensive end he's going to be one to take advantage of the mismatches that he creates on the end. So obviously it's all matchup dependent, and some teams are going to be able to pick on him. Like let's say we play Atlanta, since Atlanta seems that they're going for it as well. Then Trey is also pretty small, so small on small. In the end, that's not gonna hurt anybody. And again, he's gonna come off the bench when it's playoff time, so I don't really see it being too much of a problem. Again, just the having another adult in the room. The Magic are growing up; they're all getting older at this point as well. So we don't really need babysitters anymore. There's no need for a Joe Ingles or a KCP to be the ones to bring experience. The Magic have been in the playoffs enough in the last couple of years that hopefully they'll be able to have matured on their own and been through the wars a little bit. So Tyus Jones isn't that old anyway, so he can still be a part. It's only for 1 year at this point, so we'll see how it goes. If things are going to get more and more complex when it comes to our apron situation starting next year when Paolo's extension kicks in. But we'll see how things go so far with Tyus, and if in the end if we can get him back for at a minimum, it's going to be difficult because next year a lot of other teams are going to have salary caps. So we'll see what we're able to do. But at least we'll have him for this year, and hopefully he's able to really um, help bring the team along offensively, so that we're not in the bottom third again on offense. That at least we have someone that could spot start, as most of our guards unfortunately are injury prone when it comes to Jalen and Desmond Bain. They've been injured often enough that we definitely need somebody to be able to step in and right the ship when we need spot starts. So that's going to be basically his role at this point. So again, it's great to have spot up shooter, especially the catch and shoot threes. We desperately need that. So um, everyone talks about him being a backup point guard and a facilitator and all of that. So yes, that is true. But for the last topic on the docket today, for me, I think hear me out. I know it's going to be something that people are going to not necessarily be receptive to, let's say, but I really think that Tyus should start, and really the starting five should be Tyus, Bain, Franz, Paulo, and for me it would be Goga, just to go along with Paulo. You already have a high defender with Franz. Bain is a neutral defender, not a negative defender. Our problems much of last season were the bad starts. It took us forever to get going offensively. So now if we have Tyus setting everything up, again being a spot up shooter for Franz or Paulo when they drive, and then we have Goga who's I can see how Wendell would be good there so he can spread out. He can go out to the 3 point line. We'll see where his 3 point shot is after a miserable year this past year. But if not, Goga is good at also facilitating a bit on the outside. So it really depends on our offensive scheme as well. But for me, I would rather have Tyus start. So we have Tyus again, Tyus, Bain, Franz, Paolo, and center to be named later, basically. Um, Now, we've seen Mosley take out Franz pretty early on in the first quarter so that he can run the second unit. But at this point, you can still do that if you'd like. But for me, you have Tyus be one of the first to come off the court. So that's when you would bring in Jalen. So Jalen would be the de facto point guard when it's him and Baines in the backcourt. And then if you wanted to take out Franz, you can. Franz could also come out, and then you could either bring in Black or you can bring in I forget. Oh, Tristan actually is who I was thinking more because Tristan has a lot of Franz in him. Just again, they need to empower him. Once they empower him, I think he's going to be able to be much more useful than he was for the second half of the year. Last year, when Paolo and Franz, when they were out, when Franz was out, Tristan was able to do a lot of things that Franz can do. Obviously, not at that level because it was his first year. He's inconsistent with his shot. He has sneaky athleticism. There were a lot of times where he would try to go up and dunk on people, which is great. So that's a little bit more than Franz has. But I think you give Tristan the ball a bit more, or you empower him. While it would be at that point it'd be Jalen, Bain, Tristan, Paulo, and again center to be named later. I think that would be another good stint of the first quarter or the rest of the first quarter. And then, of course, Bain can go out, Anthony Black can come in, Paolo can be out, and either if we still have Jonathan Isaac, we can have Jonathan back up Paolo. If not, we have Penda who can also do that as well. I don't know how much the rookies are gonna factor into the year. Obviously, Penda is not being really polished offensively. I think it'll be easier for him to be able to be in the rotation because we know that Jamal Mosley loves defense. So for me, I think either him or Jonathan Isaac will be the backup for Paulo, and then either again Goga or Mo would be the backup centers. So Jonathan obviously would be more ideal to be with Mo, but if not, could you imagine just Penda and Mo out there causing havoc, being pains in the asses? Um, and Chippy and all the other things that'll come with that. That I think that would be a good second unit for them. And then of course we have the Jace Richardson, and Noah's Brown. We still have Jet at this point. So those would be guys that will be able to step in. Hopefully they get more time. I think that's again when we talk about scheme and coaching, this is going to be not a make or break season, I wouldn't say, for Jamal Mosley because I think at this point he's had enough goodwill with the team, but the concerns will start to pop up if the Magic underperform or if the rotations are a bit odd or if they're not giving ample opportunity to some of the people to be able to develop. It's going to be difficult to allow people to develop right now just because we're trying to win and the East is wide open. I hate the concept of how the East is the least conference versus the West, which obviously the talent as we saw even in the last draft went mostly to the West, and that's unfortunate. That's not something that the East can control in any way. But I think that's something that we've heard a lot. But the East is wide open due to injury and just due to just a regular life cycle now with parity in the league due to the apron situations that we have now. So I think that's the thing. So that's why for me, I think Jalen would be best to come off the bench. He could be the sixth man. He can win the award multiple times. I know it was a different era, but there were times where Kevin McHale came off the bench. It was a little before my time in the 80s, but to see him be an all-star while being a bench player multiple times, a multiple time all-star as a bench player is a bit surprising. But you look it up. I looked at the basketball reference just to see if it's possible for you to continue to get accolades like all defensive teams, six mans, all the other things that Jalen I'm sure would covet just like anybody. But again, he's the heart and soul of the team, and we want to try to find a way to conserve him as much as possible because really that's going to be the way that hopefully we get some longevity. The 1 year that he was healthy was by far his best year, and that's what got him the big contract. This is the big year of the contract. It starts to decline as we go through the contract. That was smart by Weltman just to make sure that we're protected because unfortunately he has a medical uh, background or the medical records aren't super great right now for Jalen. So that's why I'd say I posing out to the world. I'm bringing it out to the world that I think he should come off the bench. And if that's something that Magic are able to do, that's great. Again, Jalen is the heart and soul of the team. I'm not denying that. Obviously, he's gotten paid and he's getting paid this year as if he's a very important cog in the Orlando Magic machine. So I feel like there's in all ways he's been shown his importance to the team, and I think the most important thing that he can do is to come off the bench and really solidify the bench role there. Um, like of course he could be a spot starter, or of course when it comes playoff time, you have him as a starter. The same thing, I never understood the big deal with being a starter versus being a closer. For me, if you're closing when it matters, like let's say a Caruso in Oklahoma City or Manu Ginobili back with the Spurs, who's another person that came off the bench and was able to be an all star. He was an all star reserve, but he was still able to be an all star. Um, so yeah, so I think those are more important roles to be the closer. So obviously he could close, and it could be we could have a small lineup of Paolo at the five, Franz at the four, um, Tyus, Suggs, and Bain. If we wanted to try to have like our main offensive guys all in one shot. If not, then Tyus can go down if it's a defensive battle. If it's an offensive battle, then whoever's up would be able to stay in the on the court. So that for me is why I pose to the world that Jalen come off the bench. Now I understand that might not be popular and it's understandable, but it's just something to think about. I think otherwise, again, he can start, and then Jones is the first one off the bench. But that's it. Jalen's going to be throwing his body around all season to continue the way he plays. He said it already. He's not going to change the way he plays, and we have to make sure that we're able to conserve him. So by any means necessary, really, at this point, because we need Jalen as being the heart and soul of the team. So yeah, that's it for the first episode here. So there's gonna be more information coming out. So we'll see what happens with the Moe signing. Let's see if we're even going to be able to keep Caleb. I thought it would be a good idea to keep Caleb just because he's pretty inexpensive and he can shoot, and we're not ones to be giving away shooters really at this point. So hopefully we're able to get both guys back. That will complete the roster, and then I think at that point we'll definitely be able to move forward. It's either that or Weltman might have something else up his sleeve and another trade to be able to get some talent on his team, especially some more scoring for the bench. A lot of our targets are gone at this point, so we'll have to see what he's doing. Desmond wasn't in anybody's plans, from my understanding, but we still have some draft capital, but a lot of it, I would say, has been spread out to the world. So we still have a couple guys we can put into a trade. We'll see who else needs a big man. A lot of the big men's been moving around, so if we were going to give up one of our big men, that door might have already closed. So we'll see what we do. So that'll be for another day. So again, thank you very much for watching. And if you leave a comment down below, I'll be able to read it and see if there's anything else you wanted to talk about. Later in this channel during the summertime when it's a bit quieter, obviously, I want to do a bit of more of a deep dive in the Orlando Magic lore and the Orlando Magic history. Maybe do a few rewatches of the old playoff games or any significant games that the Orlando Magic have had over their 36 years so far. And then eventually, once the season starts, having live reactions after, and any news, any notes, anything like that that pop up during the season. So this is the beginning of things to come. This is also a channel for you. So please write in the comments anything that you'd like to talk about. Have any comments? I'll probably go onto the Reddit or any of the other places. I've gotten onto X now just so that I can see what people are talking about. So um, I'm I'm surprised I called it X. Normally I'll just call it Twitter. Anyway, thanks for listening to this first episode. And as the incredible Tony Kornheiser says, we'll try to do better tomorrow. Talk to you later.